What's up? Your boy Domuto. We're back with another video today. We're watching Carthu's Dojo, the many mistakes of the Buu Saga. Alright. There was a lot of mistakes in the Buu Saga. I feel like this arc should not have went as long as it did, but it did. So we're here now, and let's get into it. And also check out my new podcast called the Boot Handle Podcast. Link will be down below, and let's get into it.
In all of Dragon Ball Z, I think the Cell Saga is the one that is caused by the most mistakes made by our main cast of characters. But like I said in that video, the Buu Saga is a close second, starting with Gohan's bad decision of not keeping up with his training. While he didn't stop training entirely and was just not training at the intensity and frequency he'd need to grow stronger or even maintain the full power he had as a child, this is going against his father's final wishes for him and the entire Earth. Let's not forget, Gohan has absurd potential, so he possibly could have handled the entire Buu Saga on his own had he kept growing stronger over the 7-year time skip. I'll give him a slight pass though, since he hasn't really known prolonged peace since before he was 4 years old. After this, we jump way forward to the tournament where even Goku knows Videl should just concede to Spopovich or take the ring out. She's clearly no match for him, putting her own life in danger, but even more important than that, she's enraging Gohan. Something that seemingly leads to Gohan using Super Saiyan 2 against Kibito. That energy is stolen by Spopovich and Yamu and leads to Buu getting over half the energy required for his resurrection. But let's be fair here, Supreme Kai and Kibito are even more to blame. Not only did they not properly assess the power of the fighters on Earth, leading to a pretty drastic underestimation in how they planned to handle Babidi and his minions, but they didn't fully relay the plan immediately. Goku trusts gods and has been with a Kai for the last 7 years in heaven. Even Piccolo immediately agrees to the authority of Supreme Kai due to his position in the universe. While Vegeta might not agree still, I think Goku could have convinced Gohan to use some of his power to draw out Spopovich and Yamu without giving Babidi nearly half of what they need for Buu's resurrection for absolutely no reason. There's a world where base Gohan powers up enough to draw out Spopovich and Yamu while giving Buu, at minimum, 100 times less energy to potentially be revived with. Again though, if Kibito and Shin had more information on the fighters on Earth, Kibito could have just asked Gohan to power up in his base form to draw out Spopovich and Yamu. This mistake is really easily avoided if they either had good intel or shared the plan, so not doing either is just a huge mistake. This lack of transparency from Supreme Kai and Kibito also leads to the minor mistake of Android 18 staying behind. Due to her having an infinite energy system instead of normal ki, she probably has energy that Babidi can't use towards the revival of Majin Buu, just like they specifically can't use Supreme Kai and Kibito for Buu's revival either. Man, this tournament sure has been going on for a while, huh? It keeps getting interrupted. Where'd you get that watch? What? Where'd I get my watch? Well, that's from this video's sponsor, Holzkern. I guess we have some time to kill before the next fight, so check this out. They make watches and jewelry for men and women. All their products are 15% off site-wide for a limited time. When bad happens, I suggest you do the same. And now, we've made it to our new vacation destination. Welcome to the wasteland of poor choices, where you can find Gohan potentially not using Super Saiyan 2 against Dabura. I know this one is contentious, but this does not look like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and we know Toriyama knew Gohan can use Super Saiyan 2 because he used it during the tournament. Though, based on the characters' reactions to Gohan fighting Dabura, it's possible this is actually Super Saiyan 2 and just a design inconsistency, so only count it as a possible mistake. What's definitely a mistake, though, is Goku stopping Vegeta from helping Gohan, who's clearly struggling at least a little bit against Dabura. Hell, even Goku helping his son himself would be better than letting this fight drag out, potentially giving Buu some energy from any damage that Gohan takes, and ultimately giving Dabura a chance to notice that Vegeta is a bit different from everyone else. Though we all know in the end, that's Vegeta's mistake. He gets upset because he realizes Super Saiyan 2 Goku is stronger than him and feels like his fight date with Goku got interrupted, so now he willingly lets himself be used by an evil warlock so he can close the gap in power while still having a reason to fight. He could have just accepted that he was was weaker than Goku and still had a fight with him after they easily stopped Buu's resurrection, but nope, that would make too much damn sense. That doesn't excuse Goku from not using Super Saiyan 3 against Majin Vegeta though. We know Babidi's minions being defeated doesn't give Buu energy, and a fighter has to get damaged to give energy as well. So Goku using Super Saiyan 3 just for a moment so he could quickly knock out Vegeta was by far the best option. If he had the time to use it to stall Buu later on, he definitely had time to use it against Vegeta for one decisive blow. Don't let his excuse from later on deceive you. Let's leave the wasteland though and go to Capsule Corp, where Bulma and the others have summoned Shenron, which is pretty premature. Sure, they don't know anything besides the fact that Vegeta killed a lot of people at the tournament, but they don't know if that issue is even resolved yet or anything that led up to him becoming evil again. Usually, the characters are smart enough to make sure the problem is actually solved first before wishing everything be put back to normal, except in situations where there's no other choice, and here, there definitely was another choice, like collecting the Dragon Balls, but just holding on to them instead. What's an even weirder mistake, though, is the fact that despite the wish being to revive every good person that died, everyone still thinks Gohan is dead. Sure, Vegeta became evil, and even then he was revived by Shenron in the Frieza saga. Yes, that was Shenron, not Porunga, so he can't be revived again. No, Dende's upgrade on the Dragon Balls never removed this limitation. Gohan, on the other hand, hasn't ever been revived, so if they thought he was dead, they should have known he'd be alive now for sure, and if they had that information, maybe King Kai could have connected Goku to him, letting the cast on Earth know about Gohan's training and allowing the kids fusing to be the backup plan rather than the bet they place everything on. You could even argue that Supreme Kai and Kibito could train Gohan in the time chamber once he has the Z-Sword, since he has over a year remaining that he can still use. Which, now that I think about it, is also true for Goten and Trunks. Why not just put him in the Room of Spirit and Time? Piccolo actually suggests this, but Goku seems to care more about them having the full 2 days in the time chamber for a potential future threat instead of using at least a little bit of that time now for the threat at hand. It just doesn't make any sense, especially when Goku is willing to use Gohan's precious time in the time chamber in the last arc. It's pretty clear he's expecting more from both the power of the kids and the power of the fusion itself. He thinks just fusing and no training will be enough for Gotenks to beat Majin Buu, but I actually doubt that. Remember, for Super Buu, it took Goten and Trunks training in the time chamber and unlocking Super Saiyan 3 as Gotenks just to equal him. So is Super Buu really that much stronger than Fat Buu that Gotenks without training and just regular Super Saiyan could have beaten them? Then you have Piccolo, who sensed Super Saiyan 3 Goku and thought correctly that Goku could beat Buu. But he's only skeptically impressed with Gotenks' ki, needing further proof to be sure that they can beat Buu at all. Even if it is possibly true that they could win that fight, it's just a huge and unnecessary gamble on Goku's part for seemingly no reason. A gamble like, I don't know, not killing Buu when he had the chance, like I just mentioned. Whether you consider this in character or not, I don't really care, since the point of these mistake videos is to show how characters are flawed and make interesting mistakes that let the story happen.
Hey, Goku should have been trained.
Definitely one of them. Goku admitting he didn't kill Buu when he could have just to try and let the kids handle it is really dumb. I get it. He's dead and thinks he'll be dead forever, but when the goal of uplifting the next generation is ultimately to protect Earth, I think not protecting the Earth and that next generation is a mistake, especially when you realize that later in the arc, the Earth gets destroyed and the next generation gets killed, which is something that's avoidable if Goku killed Buu on his own. Speaking of Goku stalling Buu, that only happens because the smartest woman on Earth is dumb as bricks. She knew the Dragon Balls would be needed again in the near future, even mentioning that her parents opted to stay behind with their pets, knowing they could be revived in the worst case scenario. So Bulma, how are you going to revive your parents without the Dragon Radar? You know, the radar you apparently can't remake with the materials you have? Why would you leave that behind in this situation? Of course, Goku should kill Buu if he can, but Bulma's mistake is ultimately the reason he has to reveal Super Saiyan 3 and burn away his remaining time on Earth. Time that he could have used to better assess the threat and potentially even realize that they need the time chamber once a successful Super Saiyan fusion occurs. Now, remember that later destruction of Earth I mentioned? It's why I don't even think it's that big of a mistake for Piccolo to have Super Buu kill every person on Earth. It was going to happen later anyway, so it probably didn't matter. Though, I will say this could have severely backfired if Super Buu actually did kill Mr. Satan. But ultimately, I think the death and destruction on Earth are mostly Goku's fault after a certain point. Especially since Piccolo thought it would take Buu time to wipe out the planet's population, he was doing it for a good and justifiable reason, even if it didn't work out as intended. This would have even been a safe gamble if the Dragon Balls weren't used prematurely and were just collected already, but I'm sure you get the point by now. Honestly, Goku's overall faith in the kids is definitely a mistake that leads to this outcome. They're not nearly as mature as Gohan was and had to be due to them leading a life of peace compared to Gohan's nearly non-stop combat tour since he was 4 years old. Their immaturity is a clear oversight in Goku's plan. Take the fact that Gotenks shouldn't have hidden Super Saiyan 3 from Piccolo. Even if Gotenks couldn't beat Super Buu as a Super Saiyan 3 because he was only equal or barely stronger than him, fighting Super Buu in the Room of Spirit and Time could have spared a lot of death and destruction, and not doing so almost led to the Earth's Dragon Balls being deactivated. It would also delay Piccolo destroying the exit, buying more time before Buu could escape from the dimension. But I think this is one of those mistakes that ended up working out since Gotenks needed Super Saiyan 3 to exit, so he'd need to wait to fuse again if the timer ran out, assuming they're not just dead if that happens.
True.
And due to time being slower outside the Room of Spirit and Time, they'd be buying the world minutes at most, likely not even close to enough time for Gohan to get to Earth much faster. Speaking of Gohan, he is possibly the most contentious when it comes to his mistakes in the fight against Super Buu. According to the Dragon Ball Super anime, Gohan was drunk on power when he fought Super Buu, but was he actually? He only fought him for one chapter in the manga before Super Buu blew up, so was it really his fault? I take it as a little his fault, but Buu's escape is an ultimately unavoidable outcome. Gohan is undeniably arrogant and overconfident here, choosing to talk about how superior he is instead of finishing the fight, and later in a scene that parallels the Cell Saga, Goku screams for Gohan to finish off Buu before he can absorb Piccolo and Gotenks, showing that Gohan's hesitancy is possibly to blame in this moment as well, and that Goku believes Gohan can kill Buu in an instant, something he should have done when he first walked up to him in their initial fight. There's also the fact that Gohan shouldn't have let the kids get involved at all. I get that they're baited into fusing, but if Piccolo is skeptical about Buu's motives, then Gohan should be as well. Instead, Gohan is way too relaxed because of his newfound power, and that's ultimately why Buu isn't defeated right then and there. The next mistake isn't super bad or anything, but if Elder Kai could have given his life up for Goku so he could go back to Earth and help, he probably should have done it sooner. Goku could have gone back to Earth to help train the kids, and with instant transmission, they'd actually have the ability to escape close calls relatively easily. It just seems like if he cares about the assured future of the universe, which is the reason he agrees to give up his life for Goku in the first place, then he should have done so sooner. Again, it's ultimately not a huge deal, but it does seem like a mistake to me, especially since his death doesn't even really change his current situation. However, it wasn't a mistake for Elder Kai to give Goku the Potara, but who's to blame for Gohan not catching the earring? For some reason I can't explain, people clown on Gohan for this, like his ass wasn't just beat within an inch of his life. Meanwhile, Goku over here was freshly brought back to life and does such a bad throw, Stephen A. Smith would yell about it for 3 years. Which is no surprise since he's definitely never played catch with Gohan a day in his life. But it's even funnier when you remember he can teleport. He could just spawn in right in front of Gohan and even put the earring on himself if he wanted to. Even Goku goes on to realize how dumb this decision was because he puts the earring directly in Vegeta's hand after this. So yeah, this is a Goku mistake and I don't want to hear it. So now that Goku handed the Potara to Vegeta and they fused, I'm sure you're expecting me to talk about Vegito's many mistakes or arrogance, but I only think he made one mistake. You see, Vegito gets absorbed on purpose. This is a specific plan to save the people that Buu absorbed. Defusing wasn't a part of that plan, and if he didn't want to save everyone, he could have and would have killed Buu. The mistake here is that there are Dragon Balls, and those make it a pretty dumb decision. The people in Buu he's trying to save could just be revived by the Dragon Balls, or at worst, the Namekian Dragon Balls. And we know Goku is capable of reaching New Namek on his own if needed. The plan itself is actually fine though, so I don't fault Vegito too much for what he did. But Vegeta crushing the Potara is without a doubt a mistake. Like, what was the plan if Buu just wasn't weak enough for them to kill on their own? Happens, by the way. And Gohan or Goten and Trunks aren't able to fight immediately after being freed. which happens, by the way. Even Goku says this was a mistake, and he loves the idea of fighting on his own. Combine this with Vegeta's next mistake of removing Good Buu from Super Buu, and it gets even worse. Super Buu was definitely less eager to destroy the Earth and far more manipulatable than Kid Buu, which could have bought them time for a lot of things, like Dende healing Goten, Trunks, and Gohan, or even Kibito Kai could have done it if he teleported to Earth again. While Super Saiyan 3 Goku is too weak for Super Buu by his own admission, he probably could hold off Super Buu for a little bit at least, so this is a pretty plausible possibility. Just use the threat of removing Good Buu as a way to ensure they escape, or Goku could stall an escape with Super Saiyan 3. Of course, we can't ignore Goku not saving Goten, Trunks, and Gohan before the Earth was destroyed instead of Mr. Satan and Dende, which I understand is technically a mistake, since regardless of anything else, the Namekian Dragon Balls could still restore the Earth, and by extension, Dende and Mr. Satan, especially since it's basically guaranteed that Gotenks and or Gohan could have beaten Kid Buu. That's the reason Toriyama kills them off after all. It adds tension, and honestly, it's not really a mistake. Goku himself didn't have time to teleport, and they needed to be saved by Kibito Kai. It was either save Dende and Mr. Satan, or save no one, since they weren't near the others at that point. The actual mistake is him not just deflecting this blast. We've already seen in this arc that Goku can transform into Super Saiyan 3 instantly at this point, so just do that again. I mean, he literally does do it again in the very next chapter, so it's not a one-off, and even if that blast is stronger than his last, it should still be something that Super Saiyan 3 Goku could handle, since he still thinks he can handle Kid Buu, again, in the very next chapter. If Goku could have deflected the attack or just bought time by pushing it back, Kibito Kai could have saved everyone else before Goku teleports away from Earth. So Earth might still get destroyed, but they'd have a much easier time killing Buu, so it's probably more than worth it. Luckily, Goku and Vegeta can still fuse to beat Buu with the second set of Potara, and nope, Goku gives the earring back and Vegeta destroys the one he's given. Very smart. I'm sure that won't be something Goku considers a mistake in just a few short chapters. Oh right, he does that. But somehow, even with all of that, the arc manages to end happily. All the mistakes of the characters in the Buu Saga lead to the ending working. We're all flawed and make mistakes, but if we come together, unite what we're each good at, and use it all in one moment of perfect teamwork, we can overcome anything. So make sure to join my team.
And shout out to Carthu Dojo for this video. Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes in the Buu, the Buu arc. Okay, it was, man. Them niggas was just acting dumb as fuck. Like, come on, bro. Come on, Goku. Come on, Gohan. Vegeta, the niggas just doing too much. Anyway, make sure y'all check out the last Carthu Dojo video right here. He talked about the Cell arc or whatever, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.